You're listening to the Paul Higgins Show, the place for ambitious tech consultants scaling to live better. After 18 years as a global leader and having a successful tech consulting exit, I'm sharing what's working now to transform emerging tech consultants worldwide into trusted consultants that attract the best clients and deliver measurable results. When you're ready to level up your clarity, results, and freedom, begin with the free Strategic Profits Blueprint available at paulhigginsmentoring.com/blueprint. Imagine this, you read a new release on AI every day and you want your team to be knowledgeable, but how do you stay ahead and train your people? Hello, this is Paul Higgins and welcome to episode 525 of the Paul Higgins Show. In this episode, we have Mark on to share his experience on AI and providing answers to the training of your people. Mark Good is the founder of AI Force, the Salesforce AI training company. Mark has worked for 10 years as a Salesforce professional while researching the capability of AI. And he really started that in 2015, which he goes into more detail on in the show. His mission is to accelerate the adoption of AI within the business ecosystem, empower the Salesforce professionals and companies within the tools and training to bring AI to life inside business processes. So he understands both business and the development of AI, which is brilliant. He's the co-founder of GPT Dreamin', the largest virtual Salesforce AI conference in the world. And I'll now hand you over to Mark Good from AIForceTraining.com. Fantastic to have you here, Mark.
Yeah, glad to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, well, look, we had some really good conversations a couple of times before going to air today, and it's one of the hottest topics that's going around in our industry at the moment. Brilliant to have some of your experience and wisdom on to talk about it. And why don't we kick off, though, with who are your ideal clients and what problems you love to solve for them?
Yeah, my ideal clients are individual Salesforce professionals. These are admin, business developers, business analysts, architects, anyone who's looking to skill up with AI by learning about the current tools like Salesforce flows infused with AI, professional use of ChatGPT, and other AI tools that are available through ISVs and beyond. Also, I work with organizations who want to prepare their team with AI, so skilling up with AI and helping their team prepare to start implementing AI solutions inside of their business processes and inside of customer products and deliverables.
Right. And with the Salesforce professionals themselves, how many are working as, freelancers versus how many are working within SIs as an example?
We have a good cross section. I would say it's probably individuals are probably making up 60 to 70% of enrollees in the program. And the others come from independents and ISVs.
Right. And what are some of the problems they're facing at the moment when it comes to the topic of AI?
Well, the biggest one is noise. There's so much noise,
Yeah,
especially in the Salesforce ecosystem. I think everyone knows well that Salesforce does a great job at marketing. In their marketing, there's just a lot of information about, forward-looking products. And it's really hard to decipher and get down to what's actually available, what's readily available today, and to know what are the specific skills that you need to be prepared for what's coming versus what's available today. So that's one of the biggest problems that everybody has, trying to sort through reading articles, following the right people. First thing I'll say is if you don't know or you're not sure and you don't have clarity, feel free to follow me on LinkedIn, Mark Good, because I post about that all the time. That's what I do solely now. Another big problem is about skills. So Salesforce does offer through Trailhead the AI Associate certification. So you can go to Trailhead now. You can start down the path of some really fundamental AI knowledge, which is really nice. But the thing is there's a lot that can be done today. AI was developed outside of the Salesforce ecosystem, and this applies to HubSpot and others as well. AI and the technology behind AI was developed outside of these CRM systems. Knowing what to learn and how to apply it today is really important if you're going to stay competitive in this market. That's something that we do, is we help our customers and our clients overcome this chasm of AI is brand new. We don't know what to do with it. What is generative AI? How do we deploy it? And get you to the other side of that on getting the fundamentals beyond what Salesforce Trailhead offers, gets you into actionable information to start deploying AI inside your Salesforce org, and really capturing the value that it has to offer today, as opposed to waiting. A lot of Salesforce customers and Salesforce professionals are finding themselves in this waiting period, waiting out Einstein Copilot, Prompt Builder, Einstein Copilot Actions, these other things that are promised by Salesforce that are coming, but aren't
Yes.
quite here yet.
Yeah, so it's sort of that getting that phasing, right? And like you said, you spend night and day studying this. You can take a lot of that work away from people, so you can effectively work better with the end client to get the solutions. So let's hit the elephant in the room here, which is a lot of people are saying, AI is going to be the death of developers, and it's going to move a lot of the roles that people currently do. I brought you on because you're the one that studies this day and night. What's your view on the impact and the change that it's going to have on developers?
Yeah, here's the thing. This was the fear mongering that started when generative AI first started becoming a really big deal, became really accessible to everybody. The biggest concern was AI is going to replace positions like developers, admins, and beyond, even consultants, right?
Yes.
But here's the thing, AI is really just another layer of tech. It's another tool that has to be learned by these professionals, developers and beyond, to apply to current business processes and apply new automations that we weren't able to apply before, move away from coding and more towards prompting and leveraging the capability that AI gives us, which is instead of creating this structured code that runs the same way every time, now we have this new sort of coding infrastructure called AI, where we can integrate it into the platform, into processes in such a way that it does things that we couldn't do before, that coding can't do because coding is in a very fixed and structured way. AI's got a little bit of malleability to it. So what's important here is that we're not replacing these professionals. In fact, if anything, we're augmenting and improving these professionals. So every professional today either has or is going to be learning how to use AI in different ways. So it's like things like Code Gen, Code Builder provided by Salesforce to augment the way we create code, or it's in the Scale Center it's like Code Guru, I think it's what it's called, that was recently released in January, where it's analyzing code, providing potential fixes to bad code or poor practices that are already in the org. Tools like this. Professionals need to learn these tools, need to learn how to deploy these tools properly and create new automations that we couldn't use before, that we couldn't do before.
No, I've often heard that it's going to be another pair of hands, not another brain, is one way that someone described it. And I know someone has also said in the doctor context or the medical context that, AI is not going to replace the doctor, but a doctor using AI is going to replace the doctor. I'm assuming it's similar in this context. And is it the biggest single change that's happening to the development space since you've been in the ecosystem, or have you seen other changes like this in the past?
I'm biased to answer that question, to be honest. The answer is yes for me, but I am biased because I've been studying the development of the kind of AI that we have today since back in 2015, 2016. So I've seen it grow up. In 2022, I've said to myself, hey, Salesforce and AI, these things are going to go together well before Salesforce announced it. So I say yes, but that's the bias from which I come. But I think outside of me, you can look at the anecdotal evidence that Salesforce has shifted and pivoted their entire marketing to AI. I mean, that's all they talk about now. If you go to I went to Dreamforce, I spoke at Dreamforce last year in 23. We just finished up TDX recently. It's all about AI. That's the only thing it's about. And Salesforce, I think, is right. Other companies are starting to do this as well. You can look at it as hype, which is fine, or you can look at it as this really is the next technological revolution. It really is. The technology underlying our current AI, generative AI, is something that is fantastic, and it's going to change so many business processes, how they're done behind the scenes. Now, the goals are the same. We're still trying to do the same things, make great products for great customers with great experiences, grow our businesses at impressive scale. But now we're doing it with a new tech, a new thing in our tool belt.
You listening to Mark and I here are normally the owners. You're not normally the person that's doing the development. You once were the developers, but you're no longer doing the development, right? And well, hopefully that's the case, that you're more running the business more holistic. I wanted to sort of get from your perspective, Mark, whether Now, how much is up to the owner of the business to provide the education versus how much is it up to the individual developer to self educate? Have you got a view on that?
Well, what's interesting is at the early stages of starting AI Force training and rolling out the actual training material itself, once it went public, it was all individuals up front, which is really interesting. We're seeing over time a slow shift towards the organizations paying for employees to be trained as opposed to the individuals themselves going out and trying to further and better themselves with skill sets. So we're seeing the shift happen. I think companies everywhere are looking for ways to skill up with AI. There's so much noise. They're definitely looking for solutions. I think over time that's going to overtake individuals paying for improving their own skill sets and learning AI, especially as organizations start to see their competitors roll out more and more either customer AI solutions. That sets the telltale sign that your competitor is going to gain advantage on you if they've got AI solutions in their products already. But even more, as important in the background in the business process for growing your business, AI solutions for augmenting your current staff and your current employees is so important. And so I think as everyone watches the tool set get built out, like Einstein Copilot and other features like that, they're going to start to see that the companies that adopt it are able to do so much more than the companies that don't. All that boils down to is organization leaders are recognizing the importance. They're starting to take those steps and enroll their employees in training and pay for the tools that are needed. And there are tools out there. If you head over to for example, the Salesforce App Exchange, you can find tools with AI in them already. So now it's okay, well, do your professionals have the skill sets needed to take those tools and deploy them in the org safely and responsibly?
Yeah, great. And as far as the other thing I'm hearing quite a bit of talk about is, pricing it. So, are you pricing AI services the same part of your current service provision, or is it as a separate and it maybe a higher rate? Let's say as an average rule, Salesforce development costs maybe like retail, maybe anything between, I've heard as low as 150 to as high as 200 is a rough rule of thumb, right? Have you seen where AI is anything to do with AI? Is it getting an AI tax, an AI premium put on it, or is it just the same cost? It just helps do development faster and better than what it did before?
Yeah. So right now, so far, what we're seeing is same cost development faster. There's not like a AI, you're getting the AI service with the white glove premium AI service. Although I'd be interested if someone's listening and you do that, please reach out to me. I'd love to hear your stories. No, right now it's how do we use it in the back end? And everyone's still trying to get comfortable and familiar with. There are growing pains. Actually, initially, as you lean in for the first time, it costs a little bit more in time and in training. But then results that everyone's seeing as that gets fleshed out are really great. It's like your cell phone. You don't want to turn your cell phone off,
Yes.
right? Because guess how much productivity would decline if you all of a sudden didn't have specific tools that you need. And AI is just the same way. So I think over time, we'll see the impact. We'll see potential price changes based on, how many resources are needed, what can be accomplished in what amount of time. But I think, right, the results of that are sort of being guarded behind the same pricing structure. And then eventually we'll see that play out in the market.
Yeah, great. And just as a reminder, we're in episode 525 of the Paul Higgins show, and this is Mark Good. And Mark said we're going to have the link to his LinkedIn profile. If you've got any specific questions, please reach out to Mark and ask those questions, because come from the business owner. There's sort of three people that I normally come across within the consulting space. There's those that are sort of the sales owner, there's those that are the operator owner, and there's those that are the development owner. And I was never the development owner. I had a partner that did that. Certainly follow him on LinkedIn and ask specific questions, as I'm doing the best as I can from a business owner's point of view, which is more from a sales than an ops or a developer. I think you've painted a really good picture of where it's going. It is faster. Have you got how much faster is it going to be? I know it's a bit of a piece of string question, but is it, have you seen any specific examples or got any specific examples of how much faster it is currently using AI to develop versus not?
Well, I can tell you the study that came out of, I think it was Stanford, there was something like a 40% studied improvement in productivity. So what you could accomplish, you had a 40% improvement in that. And this was between a control group and simply ChatGPT, so not even beyond ChatGPT. not even very specific niche tool sets for a certain job, just ChatGPT, very generic. 40% improvement there. I think it was something like a 25% improvement in quality of work. You have to look up the study to get the exact numbers. It was remarkable, very significant. And this was an early on study. I think it was done maybe mid to late last year, 23.
23. Yeah.
And so early on results, controlled study by a reputable organization. And this is just the starting line. Talking about speed, the speed's only going to accelerate. The way we're deploying AI and the different tool sets, from using VS Code with the code generation there. I mean, that was fantastic. I mean, I used that in 2022 to help build AI Force GPT app that Salesforce professionals use inside of our program and learn and train on. That's fantastic. I mean, I went far beyond what I could have achieved using VS Code to build that. It was fantastic. I loved it as an individual. And I'll tell you what, your staff who's developing are going to find so much more joy. This is my experience in doing their job with the AI tool sets, with the right AI tool sets in place, because your job just becomes so much more fun. You're not starting with that blank slate and trying to come up with solutions from nothing. You can get 80% solutions out of tools like ChatGPT or other code builders. And it's remarkable. It's incredible. It's a more fun way to work.
Yeah, yeah. And look, certainly if I look at myself creating content, sometimes I'll use it at the start and sometimes I'll use it at the end to sort of, to edit what I've written. From a developer's point of view, is there a split? Is it more used at the very beginning, like you just mentioned, or is it more to check the end? Is there any pattern or any best practices you can provide as to when to use it?
It's used throughout the entire process for building, but I'll say that you get the most value up front. So if you're sort of thinking through the structure of a solution, so brainstorming the right structure for your solution, AI is really great with that. Actually doing the coding, AI is great with that. Evaluating where things aren't going quite right. So if you're debugging and you're looking for challenges, AI is great with that. If you're looking for, and this is huge, this is a really big one. If you've written code or if AI's written code and it's time to write your test scripts, that's a really big one. Getting code coverage for Salesforce Apex is a really big deal. I mean, you can specify and ask for 95% code coverage, and AI gets really close to achieving that. It's pretty remarkable. So across the cycle for coding, it can be used and implemented. It's fantastic. I love it.
Is there any change in the testing, the quality, i.e., will it bring up specific errors for you versus, getting a human to double check? Like, is all, what's going to happen to that testing UAT process?
What's going to happen long term is that AI is going to be sort of engaged in every part of the process. I think for now, humans still sit in the loop and we audit and we have to work with the tool. Even specific purpose built tools are still they're not, the nature of our generative AI is that it's not perfect. So that's great for us because we get to show up and we still get to own it and we get to sort of engage it in the right way to get the right results, because that's just how it is. So professionals still have to use it to get professional results. This is the way that it goes. In the long run, AI takes a very large piece of what we do. So from a testing standpoint, it's going to take over the entire process in the long run. In the short run, we're just implementing it across the entire process, all the processes that we have, to augment what we do today. And so that's what we'll see, that the growth trajectory is we don't have AI. Now we have AI. Now we're going to start injecting it into our work process all throughout our work processes. In the future, some distance in the future, can't say when, AI will slowly get to the point where the purpose-built method in which it gets deployed will tackle a majority of the things that we do in the processes that we have, which is probably a topic for another podcast, to be honest. And how quickly that happens.
Yeah. And I suppose, that's just quickly on that, the pace that this is going, like, crawling, walking, running, like, what's your view on the pace of change that's going to happen with it in the next, let's say 12 months?
Well, I think, sort of to project 12 months, you kind of have to look back a little bit from 2014, 15, all the way through 2017, 18. It was very slow. I mean, extremely snail pace slow. And then 2018, 19, through 22, it was a sort of a crawl, I would say. And then when ChatGPT brought all of the attention of the generative AI space and made it available via API to developers and through app builders all over the world, we saw this sort of explosion. So now I think we're sort of like walking, which is crazy to think because all of the open source models that are being developed with the rate of accelerated capability of the OpenAI models, GPT, that have been deployed, we're seeing what I perceive as a very significant leap in capability in the past year and a half. And now as it gets pushed out and as other builders continue to deploy more purpose-built tools, it's blowing up way faster than I could have ever imagined. And I think we're going to go into an accelerated pace of deployment and adoption and skill training for the next 5 years. And what was the question? Where are we going to be in 12 months? I don't think we're going to be too far different in 12 months, to be honest. I mean, some major things are going to change, but where we are right now is probably close to where we're going to be at in about 12 months, but it's 5 to 10 years out where it's going to look totally different.
Right. Well, one of the biggest announcements of late, and you briefly touched on it, was Copilot and Einstein. And what's your quick exec summary of what, if I'm an owner of a Salesforce consulting practice that I've got developers working for me, what do I need to know about Copilot and Einstein?
Well, these are the seeds of what's to come from Salesforce. So they really are planting these seeds. The Einstein One platform, the unified metadata framework under all the clouds, Data Cloud. Data is so important with AI. You've probably heard. These are the seeds that Salesforce is planting that are going to grow into what AI is inside the Salesforce platform. What's really smart, what they're doing, and what you need to know for your developers and for your admins, because the admin and developer roles are starting to blend here. That's what I'm seeing. That's the trend, is the blending of these roles. The Copilot is the UI interface for a user to use a ChatGPT style tool, a conversational tool on the Salesforce platform across all the clouds. Developers, admins on the back end are going to be using Prompt Builder to create prompts, save the prompts that are going to be structured and used over and over. Those prompts will also be consuming data or referencing data available in Data Cloud or in your org. So grounding these prompts, the skill set that you need is, okay, what are these tools? How do I use them? Where does the data come from? Or how do I get the data infused into the prompt that I need? So defining these actions that our users inside the org or these users inside the org are going to need inside the Copilot. So what are those actions? Creating those actions, testing those actions, deploying those actions, and then monitoring the results of the responses from AI from those actions over time as the models change. Understanding which models to use and call. There's just a lot of complexity that goes into it. And so there's really sort of this can of worms that's opening up. I think it's not until, again, something like 3 to 5 years out before you see the true capability of what this Einstein Copilot type of AI infusion inside the Salesforce org can do and what it's capable of and how important it is. Right now, it just sort of seems like it's hard to get, it's hard to learn, it's not rolling out very fast. But there's so many fundamental skills that you need right now to start compounding so that you're fully prepared for that rollout as it comes through.
Yeah, and the great thing is, the reason I brought Mark on is not just because he's a fantastic person, it's because he stays ahead of that, and then you can go, or you can send your team to aiforcetraining.com to basically get ahead of everyone else. And I think, this is here to stay. We all know that. It's just a matter of you making a choice, and it's just a mindset choice as to when you launch, when you really get serious about this, and you can dabble in it, or you can, be one of the leaders in the industry. And I know what your customers expect of you, and that's to be a leader. So that's why I brought Mark on, and that's why he's got some resources that he'll talk about in a moment. But what we're going to do now, Mark, is go into the rapid fire. I'm going to ask you 4 questions and get some rapid responses. You ready for that?
Let's do it.
All right, great. So the first one is, what are some of the daily habits that help you grow aiforcetraining.com?
The one is personally, it's time balance. So I'm continuously adjusting my time between my family and my work. And when I check into work, I check out of family. And when I check out of family, when I check out of, well, you know what I mean, work, family. I make sure I try not to blend the two because it gets chaotic. It really helps me stay focused and structured in both places. I do to-done lists instead of to-do lists. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I do to-do lists, but my to-done lists are so much more important because it brings me so much more value to look at what I've achieved and accomplished, and it's so much more inspiring to move me forward. And of course, your typical tech stack of SaaS tools to automate whatever is possible. And then I'll leave it there.
Brilliant. So the next one is, where do you learn not just about the AI, but about you running AIforcetraining.com? Where do you learn about that, or go to learn about that?
By myself, I deploy AI. So I've been learning about AI through white papers for a long time, projecting sort of personally what's coming to the Salesforce platform with AI, then following along Salesforce's blogs and announcements, of course. And then, sort of, I've got this network of other course builders and in the Salesforce ecosystem. So they're great to lean on as well.
Brilliant. Totally. We've got our own community. You can go to Tech Collective and paulhigginsmentoring.com/TC to find out more about that. Because I think, yes, peers is a great way to do it at any point, but certainly when it's so new. The next one is, what's one wish we could grant you for your business?
One wish: exponential sales growth. Is that everyone's answer?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, but profitable. Most people throw profitable in there
Okay.
as well. So we'll say profitable exponential growth. And the last one is, what do you know now? And, this could be an AI specific answer, or it could be just the training business that you have. What do you know now that you wish you had known earlier?
Oh boy. I wish that I had known how much AI was going to change so rapidly after ChatGPT was released. I was on the forefront and I was prepared for it, and I launched AI Force Training, and we niched in specific to ChatGPT for Salesforce professionals, AI Force GPT, which is our own tool for Salesforce professionals, and AI inside of a flow. I didn't realize how all in Salesforce was going to go. So they've done a lot of work behind the scenes. I wish that I had somehow access to all their tool sets before they launched them into public. So I wish I had created, some sort of professional relationship with someone inside Salesforce and gotten early access to all of those things. That's the one thing that I'm missing. I wish I had right now.
Yeah.
Early access to everything.
Yeah, it'd be great. I know they make it difficult, and not as difficult as some companies, but they certainly make it difficult. Well, look, it's been brilliant having you on, Mark. It's AI. You can go to the website first, which is aiforcetraining.com. You can also enroll in the Salesforce resources for you and your team, and you can go to aiforcetraining.com/team. So that's the best place to go and get those. But Mark was referred to me because of the quality of courses and the quality of the work that he's doing. As he said, you can follow him on LinkedIn for what's latest. And Mark, thanks for really helping people in a time of massive change. You're really a great steward on leadership within this topic. So thanks for coming on today.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it.
What a great interview with Mark. And as he said, his name is easy. It's Mark Good. You can follow him on LinkedIn. Let him know that you heard about him here, but also send him the specific questions that you got. He's a very helpful guy. Also, you can go and research the team training that he mentioned at aiforcetraining.com/team. There'll be a link in the show notes for that. And also share it with your peers. They'll think you're a rock star for sharing this, because it is such a hot topic and Mark is such a sought after guy. So please share it with them. Check out our solo shows and see you next time on the Paul Higgins Show. Time for action. Subscribe, comment, and let me know what you like best about this episode. Plus, get the Strategic Profits Blueprint at paulhigginsmentoring.com/blueprint.